Hi students, welcome to JCE Connect. We are discussing about module 4 of the subject Basic Electronics, and in the previous lecture we have studied one important application of bipolar junction transistor, that is how BJT can be used as an amplifier. In today's class we'll be discussing about a second important application of BJT, that is how BJT can be used as a switch. Now before we see how BJT can be used as a switch, I want to quickly have a recap of what exactly are the three important operating regions of a transistor. We have seen in the previous class the output characteristics of the transistor is basically divided into three parts, and those three parts are called as the cutoff region, saturation region and the active region. And you know that in cutoff region both the junctions of the transistor are reverse bias. In saturation region both the junctions of the transistor are forward bias, whereas in the active region the emitter junction is forward bias and collector junction is reverse bias. That's why when you want to use transistor as an amplifier, the emitter junction should be forward bias and collector junction should be reverse bias, so that the transistor operates in active region. Now when we want to study how BJT can be used as a switch, to use BJT as a on and off switch, we have to use BJT alternatively in cutoff region and in saturation region. So once you operate transistor in cutoff mode and saturation mode by applying suitable voltages, we can use BJT as a switch. That's what we are going to study in this particular lecture. That is, when BJT is to be used as an electronic switch, as I already told, we should operate alternately in cutoff and saturation mode, and many digital circuits find the use of BJT as a switch. So here we'll start with how BJT can be used as a switch. First we'll be studying about the open switch condition of the BJT switch, that is when transistor is in cutoff mode. You can see here in this particular circuit we have used, in this particular circuit you can see here we have used a common emitter transistor circuit, wherein the emitter is connected to ground and we have given input to the base and the output we are taking in the collector. Now how to show this as a open switch? So whenever you want to use the transistor as a open switch, the base voltage is connected to 0 volts or base is connected to ground. Now when we give 0 voltage at the base, there is no current flowing into the base terminal of the transistor, and when there is no current flowing into the base terminal of the transistor, obviously this current IC becomes 0. Well, how the current IC becomes 0 when IB is 0? You know that IC is given by what? Beta times IB. Since IC is beta times IB, IB is 0, therefore IC becomes 0. And when there is no current flowing into it, that means the transistor is acting like a open circuit, and hence when base voltage is 0, as shown in this equivalent circuit, transistor can be considered as a open switch, and this happens when transistor operated in cutoff mode. Once again I am repeating, when the base voltage is 0, base current becomes 0, and this base current will force the collector current IC to be 0, and when collector current IC is 0, there will not be any current flowing in the collector, means the transistor is open, and this is how the transistor can be used as a open switch. The same thing I have explained here. You have seen in this circuit transistor is in cutoff region because the base emitter junction is reverse biased or not forward bias. In this condition there is ideally an open circuit between the collector and emitter as indicated by the switch, hence as indicated by the equivalent circuit, hence the transistor is acting as a open switch. Now next we'll see how transistor can be used as a closed switch. Now in order to understand how transistor can be used as a closed switch, now we have to apply a sufficient positive voltage at the base of the NPN transistor shown in this particular circuit. So when we apply a voltage VBB in such that it is sufficient to inject the required base current IB into the transistor. When required base current IB is made to flow into the transistor, a large again collector current will flow, which is equal to IC saturation, that is maximum current flows through the circuit, and the transistor acts as a closed switch, right. So in saturation, the applied voltage VBB will ensure that base emitter junction is forward bias, and at the same time this voltage VBB will ensure collector base junction is also forward bias. So both the junctions are forward bias. As a result, a large current flows through the transistor, and the transistor offers very low resistance, and it acts like a closed switch as shown in this particular equivalent circuit. That is, as seen in the above circuit, a transistor is operated in saturation region because its base emitter junction and the base collector junction both are forward bias, and base current is sufficiently large enough to cause the collector current to reach its saturation value IC sat. In this condition, ideally a short will be existing between the collector and emitter, and we can treat the transistor as a closed switch. However, a very small voltage will be existing across the collector and emitter voltage, which is negligible, and that collector emitter voltage when transistor is on is called as saturation voltage VCE sat, which is very small. So this is that VCE sat. Now the quick mathematical analysis of the circuit which we have seen. In the first case, we have seen the transistor in cutoff. When transistor is in cutoff, as there is no base current IB, the collector current IC is also 0, hence the voltage what we get across the collector terminal of the transistor will become VC sat equal to VCC. You may ask how we will get this. If you apply KVL to the output side, we will get the equation as VCE equal to VCC minus IC into RC. Actually we will get it as VC sat equal to VCC minus IC into RC, but this part minus IC into RC is 0 because collector current IC is 0. So when transistor is in cutoff mode, we can consider the output voltage, that is collector emitter voltage VCE sat, is considered to be VC sat equal to VCC. This is what happens when transistor is in cutoff mode. Now we'll try to analyze the second circuit, that is when transistor is in saturation. We know that the transistor will be in saturation when its base emitter junction and collector emitter junction both are when its base emitter junction and collector base junction both are forward bias. And when both the junctions are forward bias, again from the output equation VCE equal to VCC minus IC into RC, we can write the collector current, the saturation current that flows through the transistor is given by IC sat equal to VCC minus VC sat by RC, where RC is the collector load, VCC is the supply voltage, and VC sat is the small voltage that exists across the collector emitter junction when the transistor is conducting. For almost all practical application, it is considered to be negligible, or it is of the order of 0.3 to 0.7 volt. So the current flowing through the transistor is given by IC sat equal to VCC minus VC sat by RC. And we know that the collector current IC and the base current IB are related by IC equal to beta times IB. Since IC is beta times IB, from this we can write IB equal to IC by beta. So the minimum base current required to keep the transistor in saturation is given by IB mean equal to IC sat by beta or IC sat by beta DC. So normally the IB will be kept slightly above the minimum base current required, so that will ensure that the transistor will be operating always in saturation region. So to summarize, when transistor in cutoff mode, the collector emitter voltage VC sat will be equal to the supply voltage VCC, and when the transistor is operated in saturation mode, the collector current IC sat is given by VCC minus VC sat by RC, or almost equal to VCC by RC if you assume VC sat to be negligible. So from this we can calculate what is the minimum current required to keep the transistor in saturation, that is IB mean equal to IC sat by beta. Right. So after knowing how the transistor can be used as a switch, we'll be illustrating the working of transistor switch by considering one application, simple application of a transistor switch to turn on the LED. So already I have studied in the first module, LED stands for what? Light emitting diode. Whenever a current is made to flow through it, it emits the light. That is what is the principle you already studied. Now we'll see how we can turn on and off this LED by using transistor switch. So again we have used a transistor switch which we have discussed in the previous two slides, and here in addition to the load RC we have connected what? LED in series with the load. That means whenever there is a current through the load, the same current will flow through the LED and LED will be on, and when there is no current through the load, no current will flow through the LED and the LED will be off. So to ensure the on and off of the LED, what we are doing here is, you know that whenever you want to use transistor as a open switch, you have to give 0 voltage at the base, and whenever you want to use it as a closed switch, you have to give some high voltage, sufficient voltage at the base. So the best input that we can give at the base of the transistor to turn on the LED is the square wave voltage of sufficient or suitable time period as shown in this. Now if you see this particular base voltage, which is a square wave of a certain time period, on time and off time, that constitutes one cycle or the time period. So for in one cycle, half the time period the square wave is high, and for half the time period square wave is low or 0 volt, and maybe you can consider 5 volt or VCC. So such square wave is applied. So what happens to this circuit? Whenever you apply a square wave with 0 input, what happens? The base emitter junction will be reverse bias because they applied 0, and the collector base junction is already reverse bias, so transistor enters into cutoff mode. So no current flows through base as well as through collector, and no current will flow through LED, so the LED will be off. Now when you apply the next half of the square wave, that is when square wave is high, the base emitter junction is forward bias and collector base junction also is forward bias. So the transistor enters into saturation. A large current called saturation current flows, or maximum current flows through the load, which also flows through the LED, and the LED will be on. This is how, by applying the square wave at the input of the base, we can alternately turn on and turn off the LED. That means the LED will be on for half the time cycle or half the time period, and it will be on for half the time period. It will be on for half time period, off for a half time period. So in every cycle LED will be turned on and off by using BJT as a switch. The same thing is explained here. A square wave input voltage with a suitable period is applied. When the square wave is at 0, transistor is in cutoff, so no current will flow through LED and load, and the LED will not emit any light, it will be off. When the square wave goes to high level, the transistor saturates and it forward biases the LED. The current will flow through the LED, which causes the LED to emit the light, and the LED will be on. Thus we can see that the LED is on for half time period and off for half time period. So this is the important application of BJT as a switch to turn on the LED. With this we close the discussion on BJT as a switch. Thank you.